Hello everyone, this is Jasmine, aka Gladiatorinsweats, and welcome those new and returning to my channel. Just here bringing a couple of collective messages as we begin a new Wavespell. We're in the middle of the Blue Storm Wavespell now, and not just that, we also just begun a new moon month, as you may be aware of if you've checked out my most recent videos, but I really just wanted to bring a few messages, I guess, just in regards to the collective energies and hopefully being able to provide some clarity and insight. So, yeah, just talking a little bit on, I guess, just the basics, the specifics of this wave spell. Again, it began today as of January 12th. It will transpire through to the 24th of January, and this is all about catalyzation and self-generation here, as I feel we're in this whirlpool. We're in the midst of, as I've been talking about, this void space, and just so much of creation actually goes on within this void space, or really within the non-physical, before it's manifest here in this 3D sort of reality. So I guess all that to say, in very layman's terms, like, we are going through like I've been talking about, a lot of this friction, a lot of what feels like conflict. And I know we've used terms like psychic attack or spiritual attack frequently in our communities and whatnot, and I've really just been challenging myself, and I guess I challenged the community to, I guess, inquire a little bit more on what is it that we perceive psychic attack or spiritual attack to really be, and how it really all plays into this grand transformation of ourselves, and again of our perceptions and of our awareness. So I guess just getting into what I was really feeling in the cards, with the Strength and the Queen of Swords, which is what I pulled first. First off, I really felt a lot about that eagle energy, that hawk energy that I even pulled within the medicine cards, and really of this perspective of leaning into the higher knowing, leaning into our deeper awareness and perception of things, above the minutia, or the microscope of our lives. When I look at this card, this Queen of Swords card, especially because of these butterflies, and there's even butterflies in another card in the next deck that I pulled from after this, which you'll see a photo afterwards. But again, all of these symbols coming through, and all of the like animal guidance, especially with the butterflies and stuff, of this transformational process, and of us being in what feels very like blind, what feels like we're just not really in a space sometimes where we feel in complete alignment. Like, it just feels on and off. I feel for a lot of us, it feels at times like we see so clearly, and things feel pristine and crystal through our eyes. And then other times, especially when we perceive something as a spiritual attack, or we're going through some sort of triggered event or emotion, then we get this clouding and this confusion that takes place. And so I guess all that to say, I really am feeling here all this strong, need to lean in to, again, our higher perception of what's really taking place for us. A lot of an expanded awareness of what's really being seen, being able to see between, what's really going on. Because I definitely feel like, all of the cards I've been pulling this week lately have been, very fiery. If you've seen, I had the King of Wands yesterday in reverse. A couple of days ago, prior to that, I had the Queen of Wands. There was a lot of this fiery energy all of this week. And so I do feel here there is like the fire that is rising within us, the desire, the drive, our desire to assert ourselves, coming forward. And as it is coming forward, it is being transformed, and so we are asserting ourselves in a new way, standing our ground in new ways, and learning to, I feel, plant ourselves firmly in, I feel, not even necessarily like new beliefs, but just like a new understanding of ourselves as we are going through what feels like a lot of conflict. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to ignore that, only because of, not just because of the cards, but also because the next cards I did pull up, I guess, would be this would be a good time to show those. I have the Shadow card, and what is, I believe, the Ace of Pentacles, and then like the Four of Swords. But this is a prosperity begins and rest and rejuvenate within the Psychic Tarot deck. So even here, because I wanted to really get clear about what this was saying. And so even here, I feel this again about there's an underlying harmony taking place even within the storm. I feel the way that there is a locking together of both the light and the dark within the Shadow card, and then even here with the, like, both of the hands and the prosperity begins card. So I feel here again there's like a coming together in order to nurture and develop this, third that is created from the integration of these two, of the harmony that is made between these two. And I feel even so more with this Four of Swords card coming up again, because it's been coming up a lot whenever I've been pulling from this deck, especially of us not needing to be in this space of doing things and really moving out of that space of thinking like we have to be like moving on a sort of to-do list, sort of like rhetoric or programming, and moving again more in an alignment of like just inspiration that comes through like genuinely, not with a need of forcing it, or trying to force the pieces together, like when you have like a puzzle and you just want so bad for the whole picture to make sense. So I definitely feel here just a need for self-nurturing of ourselves, especially just a lot of self-love, a lot of just being there with ourselves, as we've been discussing, of self-nurturing and the self-mothering process that I feel like we're also going through, as far as all of this coming into our self-mastery, which means us taking, our own, responsibility to, a certain extent, as far as, nurturing ourselves, being interdependent, again, where we are recognizing the different parts that people do play in our lives and the different parts that we ourselves play, but we're building an independence in being able to nurture ourselves and fueling ourselves, finding the source, within our own, self, being able to listen to the messages that are being received through our feelings and through our thoughts, being able to actually sit with those and listen to those messages that are coming through, as opposed to, again, being in a state of always moving, always trying to get out of that state into some other supposedly better state. Always moving in this sort of grass is greener on the other side sort of programming, you know what I mean? So, yeah, just even within the notes that I have for the Wavespell, excuse my page flipping if you do hear that, just even within the notes, as far as the dream spell count, like there's definitely a lot of messages about there being a sort of disharmony and a lot of adversity that comes up here, but is really necessary for us in order to come to this inner emptiness, for us to come further into our like inner wisdom, as opposed to, again, being so stuck onto this need to be right, or this need to like really stand firm in a belief that isn't very truthful or very genuine to our story, to ourself, to our experience, what have you. And yeah, of us refining our body and our mind, again, burning the excess off, as I've been referring to throughout all of my videos. So that's where, for me, why I brought up the whole sort of idea, or not even the idea, but just really bringing up the whole questioning what it is that we view things as spiritual attack, and not viewing our bodies as a center for attack, or our lives as this center for attack through which we have to just have so much protection for. I just feel like we're coming more into a space of being able to be fuller in our experience, be more present in our experience, being able to, again, see through the falsities, being able to see through the illusions, no matter how tricky that they really get, because that's why I really wanted to bring up these whole concepts of transparency lately and all of that, because these are just even my personal things that I wanted to think about and bring across to other people, as far as just having the dialogue. But I feel like, again, all of us within our own beliefs, we're having to really do these deep, like microscopic sort of looks at what it is that we really believe, and what it is that our fears and our thoughts are really rooted in and rooted from, so that we're able to, again, nurture the seeds of truth, within ourselves, within our minds, and within our psyche here. And through the end of this, by the 22nd to 25th, but again, it's not all about it being in a certain time, but I just feel like in the story unfolding, I feel, again, it's all about this coming into the refinement of ourself through all of this, what we may perceive as attack or conflict. Again, it is conflict. It is attack at a certain extent. It's not about that not being true, but I feel, again, there's about us acknowledging a deeper truth. We're acknowledging a deeper perspective, and again, being more receptive to the truths of ourself and of our story and of the parts that we've been playing, that, again, we were just not ready or more readily available to perceive at that time. So again, I feel, again, I keep saying again, apologize, of coming back to, our primordial essence, of our, our truest essence nature. I just really have no real other words of trying to describe it, because of, again, I keep referring back to the whole fact that we don't have reference points for this. So I feel like it's just especially important not to beat ourselves up about it, and to center ourselves, ground ourselves in knowing our underlying purpose, as far as like this being a spiritual journey, of this being this experience that we came here in order to experience, and just being present with that, sitting with that knowingness, when those times do get tough, especially when it feels like things are happening to you, I feel like, especially for myself, it helps me to root myself in that knowing, so I'm able to come from it more of a space of, what is it that I'm needing to be shown? What is it that is really, seeking my attention, seeking my awareness at this time? So, yeah, I think that's really it. Of course, if I do have any other messages, you guys will always be receiving them, whether they're here on YouTube or on my Instagram. So, yeah, do feel free to follow me on Instagram. Links to that, as well as my website for personal consultations. All of that's in the description box. So, yeah, I hope that everyone's doing all right, because I do feel that there is a feeling of discouragement that does come from, the consistent battle of feeling like we're going 2 steps forward and taking 3 steps back at times, or of us having this journey that's just not linearly like progressing in the way that uh our minds, or just ourselves would prefer it to be. So I guess I just want to at the very least be here to encourage you to keep going, to dig deep, and to rest when you need to, take a pause when you need to, because I especially feel that, if anything, that it's definitely urging us to sit more, to be with our emotions more, to it doesn't have to even be about letting ourselves be drugged down into our negative spirals. But when we are in those spirals, I think what we can do is be attentive, is be observant of what is happening, even as we do bring ourselves out of that spiral too. So I feel like the whole part of this mastery is about us being in a self-observant space first, or not even necessarily just first, but as we are learning to grow out of these hard wired patterns and behaviors and beliefs. So I feel like it takes a bit of that slowing down, that whole idea of like when you're just running, moving, and you're just not really able to take a full view of the whole picture. When you're just not more in the flow, as opposed to being, I feel, against the stream of what's taking place. So yeah, all that to say, again, I hope that this did provide some sort of clarity and insight today. So yeah, I guess without further ado, until the next video, you guys, much love and many blessings. And yeah, do feel free to comment and let me know how things have been going, and with any like sort of questions that maybe you have been having, because I really, again, I feel like it is also easier when we're able to discuss a little bit more of what's going on with ourselves, or being able to even see that we're not going through these things alone, or we're able to just be able to bind with each other, connect with each other in those ways, and being able to recognize the separation that is starting to no longer exist, as we do see more of ourselves in each other. So yeah, as I said, until the next one, guys, much love, many blessings, and peace.